And they are going to go.
Yeah, we're all going to go as a family to go see Barbie.
Nice.
But speaking of Barbenheimer, Alex writes into the show and says, "Dear James and George, hope you're well.
Beginning with an email.
Yeah. Writes into hello@popkitchenpodcast.com just like you can and says, Dear James and George, hope you're well. I started listening to the pod a couple of months ago when I started my new job. My old one was a couple of minutes from my house, so I never got time to listen to anything. Now I have a job that is 30 minutes away. I thought I would hate the commute, but your guys' podcast has got me through it, and now I actually really enjoy the journey. I never used to listen to podcasts, and I still don't really. I have no doubt that Pulp Kitchen will be top of my Spotify Wrapped this year, considering it's the only podcast I listen to. I hope you feel honoured, boys."
I do feel quite honoured with that, actually.
Yeah, it's, you know what? There's something about like wanting a bit of a commute.
Yes.
You can lose something when you don't have that time. As much as we do try and shorten it, sometimes you're like, I actually just want to move with my own media.
I need loading time before I get to my office.
Yes. Anyway, enough about me. Here's my question. Are you guys going to watch both Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day? It seems half the world is clearing their schedules to watch both films back to back. I have myself booked the day off work to go and see them both. Brackets, don't tell my boss. Also, if you're watching them back to back, which one are you going to watch first? Me and my friend have also decided to do Barbie in the afternoon dressed in pink, then dinner and drinks. And then we're changing into darker clothes for Oppenheimer. I know we're pretty committed. I can't wait to experience the completely opposite styles of Gerwig and Nolan back to back. Thanks for making my drive to work enjoyable. I hope to write in again. Can I now be considered a friend of the pod? Best wishes, Alex from Northern Ireland.
Sure, you can be a friend of the pod. We're all friends. Everyone's a friend of the pod.
You are a friend. Don't crash your car. The Barbenheimer phenomenon, George, as far as I can remember, is unlike anything I've ever seen.
I love it.
Massive two massive films, both very much thematically counter-programming to each other.
Yes.
But instead of there being this like, oh, you want to see that one, not that one, everyone's like, cannot wait to see both this weekend.
They complement.
And typically, there's this sort of old school idea of releases where like people aren't going to go to the cinema twice in one weekend. They're only going to go once. So you need to make sure you're competing against something that's not going to be their decision.
Yeah.
But everyone is like, I'll happily go twice in one day.
Yeah.
And everyone anecdotally I've spoken to, people who are really into film and people who are not, are all on board with it.
Yeah, I love the idea. I love that this is in a time when especially when we were talking about last week.
Yes.
When it's like, oh, where's film culture? Where's film conversation now? It's like, isn't it great that the internet has set alight this debate of like, let's have fun with this.
And also like the idea of like certain bigger films. Please listen to our bonus episode we did about whether or not cinema is dying. We didn't have an answer, but we certainly covered a lot of the elements in play. People saying that, oh, this big film that cost a lot of money didn't make money. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, well, did people want to see it really in the first place?
Yes.
And instead of like saying the whole industry's dying, are we actually just becoming very streamlined and specialised with what we actually want? And it's just a huge coincidence that these two happen to be coming out and everyone's down for it.
Well, exactly. Instead of having, carbon copy and paste Marvel films, and that used to be like a cliche, but we can actually say that because we got things like Quantumania, which we literally were that. You have two films made by independent, established auteur directors who have a distinctive voice, making films in their own style, in their own way, about iconic 20th century characters with a star-studded cast that promise to be nothing that we expect.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Just on that, though, phenomenon aside, as much as I love the phenomenon, I'm all on board for it. It's great.
Yeah.
I won't be watching it on the same day.
No, me neither.
And as you just said, you won't be either. For the reason that, look,
I turn up to Oppenheimer just in full pink, ready for my day.
Well, look, Oppenheimer, there was more of a race to book Oppenheimer because we want to specifically see that in IMAX, right? And that was the race to do that. So we did that. We locked it in on a midday on a Sunday, right? The thing is, I know looking at Oppenheimer, and especially since we spoke to someone the other day who's seen it, that it's going to be big.
Yeah.
And I don't want to suppress, crush, force feed Oppenheimer with a Barbie chaser. I want to be able to ingest 3 hours of Oppenheimer, which I've heard is very heavy and very intense.
It's like having two very conflicting flavors.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So it's like
having or have your
jelly and
dessert
ice cream
immediately.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to
then
just
having like an aubergine curry.
Yeah. No, thank you. I want to have my Oppenheimer, and then for the rest of that day, I want to sit with Oppenheimer in my mind.
Yeah.
And then I wake up the next day, and I'm going to go and see Barbie in the evening. By the time Oppenheimer's receded, and I think that, to be honest, is fair to both films.
Yeah.
It's not fair to go and see Barbie Barbie if you're still like shuddering coming out of the mushroom cloud of Oppenheimer.
Your goggles like left an imprint from the nuclear bomb, and your hair is...
Nor is it fair to turn up to Oppenheimer full pink, being like, whoa, let's do this, let's detonate.
We've redefined what a modern woman means, and we did it through this previously slightly reductive lens of femalehood and Barbie.
So I think that's fine because I'm still intending to see both films that weekend.
That answers your question. Neither of us are seeing it in the same day.
Neither of us are seeing it on the same day.
We're here for it.
Absolutely.
Love that it's sort of the big weekend that's going on. And then also there is the drama, which we talked about very briefly off the podcast, which was the whole... Nolan and Warner Brothers broke up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They fell out over releasing Tenet day and date on their streaming service. And Nolan was like, absolutely not. You don't do that. He was like, I'll never... work with you ever again, switches to Universal, who he's now done Oppenheimer with, and like Nolan mid-July, every 3 years, that's his date. Yeah. He brings out a film like the middle week of July, and Warner Brothers know this, but they then chose to release Barbie because it's counter-programming on the same day. So it could have been this like otherwise quite... toxic battle, but actually like everyone wins. I mean, look, I don't know, maybe they both bomb. I don't know if they will. But like as I said, I tried to book on Friday night and like it was completely burnt.
But also it's what goes you have to look at what Tom Cruise was trying to do with his Instagram post where he'd shown his ticket stubs for Barbie, Oppenheimer and Indiana
was really
Jones.
Celebrating it,
and his point is valid, which is it's bigger than going to see one film over the other. The point is that cinema is a place to go this month, this summer. Look at all the great films you can see. And I'm like, in a weird way, like Tom Cruise, Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, and maybe, I don't know, Quentin Tarantino are all talking about the industry and like the future of cinema in very different ways, but they're all very passionate about it. Each person now I associate, especially Cruise, Nolan and Scorsese, always talking about what the future of cinema is.
They get asked a lot in little junkets and everything.
And it's great that an actor, most of the other ones are directors that can do that. Did you see that? I think someone asked Nolan, "Are you going to do a Tarantino or a Scorsese? Are you going to retire and leave a nice solid legacy and retire early, like Tarantino's going to do, or are you going to do what Scorsese is and just chase films to the very end, keep making films into your old age, keep finding cinema?" And he said he sees the merits in both. He loved to leave a clean legacy and leave a nice filmography behind, but then also he just thinks that if there's a game to be played and you've got to keep playing it, and there's a fight to be had. I can imagine him
just becoming occupied by an idea and just manically scribbling on a board, and the arrows like loop back to the start.
Wouldn't it be amazing if Nolan, like, not amazing, but like I can see him like going away for 20 years and then coming back with this just a film that just insane.
A premise like Inception caliber of you've not thought of this. Yeah, absolutely. Of course I could. But he seems to be doing this since Interstellar. He seems to yo-yo between big sci-fi idea, retelling of a historical thing. So he did Interstellar, Dunkirk, goes over to like big sci-fi idea in Tenet, coming back to like retelling a historical moment. I wonder if after this he will go back to telling a big future sci-fi moment.
Like a palate cleanser each time.
Yeah, he sort of he clearly loves his history. Yeah. I've just noticed that's a bit of a pattern that's forming.
Just on one thing on Barbie, last thing on Barbie and Oppenheimer. I am glad that you and I are seeing it in different orders. So you're seeing Barbie the day before.
I'm seeing Saturday day.
And I'm seeing Oppenheimer first.
Yes.
So
that way, Barbie Monday night.
In a way, it's not like we're treating Barbie as seconds.
No. Purely based on the circumstances and seeing it before the show, really, before we have to record.
That's next week's episode, and you can stay tuned for that. But today we're talking about other films that are out.
Other films, those episodes
that
before the big films.
Ones that you can find on streaming. James, what are we talking about this week?
They Clone Tyrone,
and
a new film starring John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and Teyonah Parris. Paris?
I think it's Paris.
Paris.